So hi, this is Anna here. I'm trying to do a recording on this so that you can better understand what I was talking about to you earlier about the different time zones. Because just now you mentioned that probably you're afraid that you'll be buying at the highest possible time. So now if you look at this, right, for this chart is done by our system is in SRI, where we actually are able to capture the time zones, different time zones over the years from 1999 all the way to 2026. Okay, and then we now are capturing the non-landed CCR, RCR, and OCR for you. In Pongo, is considered OCR. Okay, and then we also have the HDB price index here. And you can see that it's in the orange line. Okay, so orange line for HDB, as you can see, is currently on the chart itself. Okay, and then as for how about for the OCR? Okay, OCR is here. So if you're asking if the gap is overall, is it very high? Wait, so how come it's the RCR? Okay, OCR and HDB. Wait, hang on. Okay. Yeah, so the non-landed OCR, which belongs to the range of condo and EC, is this line. And for the overall HDB will be this line here. Okay. Let's look at the other lines. Non-landed RCR. The non-landed RCR, some of them are quite attractively priced, but of course, it might not be the area that you want. And then even though the pricings are lower for RCR, right, sometimes it actually has a higher maintenance. Yeah, so they are able to, it's those very small buildings, small development, less than 100 units or what. And then, of course, they're freehold, most of them. And then you have very high maintenance because actually they have been around for 20, 30 years or more. Okay. So maybe you'll be wondering like how come it seems like it's more attractive. Yes, it's attractive in terms of pricing, but the monthly maintenance may not be so. Okay, so if we only look at the OCR, right, this is the current gap right now. Okay, and then how about the RCR? Okay, so we don't look at the RCR, look at the OCR. Outside call central. Okay. When we look at this, you can see that in year 2000, we have the dot-com bubble, which is, I think sometime there was a Lehman Brothers issue. So after that, all the banks starts to call back on loans and stuff. Okay, so there was a decline in the market. And then afterwards, you have the other periods. I need to move this up. Okay. Then you have the other periods like in year, like I said, year 2008. 2008, market was already up, but then there was a global financial crisis. Then there was a dip. That's why we are struggling sometime in 2009. And then 2010, it came up again. It came up again. Now afterwards, it went all the way up until 2012 for Singapore. And then this whole chunk right here, you can see that this whole chunk, the government came in with a lot of cooling measures. And then it sort of cooled the market. Instead of going all the way up, now you see that it's like plateauing and coming down from 2012, 2015. Okay, so then it starts to recover by itself again. But by 2020, unfortunately, COVID came in. So again, it didn't go as fast as it should be. It went I mean, it went up, but not surprisingly fast. Okay. Then again, in 2023, we do see that there's a pickup because the COVID for Singapore, we sort of ended it in 2022, 2023, where the travel business, everything starts to pick up again. Everybody starts to work full time again. Okay. And then now it's coming to year 2026. Again, you can see that even though after the COVID, is there a major spurt? Not yet. So in fact, again, it starts to move its way up, but rather slowly. Okay. As of now, if you were to compare, definitely there is a gap. Then you will be thinking like, then why why don't we buy at this point, like for example, 2009. 2009, there's a financial crisis globally. Okay, a lot of people lost their jobs as well. So did you make the decision to buy? Probably didn't, because there was a lot of instability going around, right? And then of course, then if you see in year 2013, 12, 13, the gap seems very low as well, very tight. But did you make a decision then to close? Also no. Because why? That time when 2012, market is even more uncertain when government throw out the new rules and everything, right? Like I said, 50% of the agents have gone out of jobs. 2012 to 2015 is our toughest moments. So even our agents, we dare not do any investments. Some are forced to sell low. Okay. So right now, even though you see that, yes, the gap is widening, but is it going to widen further? Likelihood is still going to widen further because of all the HDB that government is going to push out via the BTO and shorter waiting times for the BTO to be up, plus the 13,000 of MOP. There is another article that could show you how many MOP is coming out in Punggol. So this will really affect the older flats in Punggol, their demand and their prices. Okay. So this is the reason why I said if you were to wait any longer and another 5 years or another 6 years, you might have missed the boat completely already. And then you might not be able to cash out as well as you could right now. Okay, because your flat is getting older and older. Okay, so this is what is going on. So I hope this gives you a clearer picture.